Well, hello, and welcome to Gallifrey's Most Wanted. I'm Ross Aiken. I'm old who.
And I'm Mark Cockrum, and I'm underrated who.
You're not underrated. You're a master. You're a master. Folks, I'm
Master what? Not the first time I've been called that.
Me either. Mark is joining us this week to cover a Third Doctor, because I know he's such a huge fan of the Third Doctor.
Yeah, thanks so much, Ross. Are you getting your own back for me inviting you on to do the Gunfighters?
Oh, no, I would have picked off far worse Third Doctor stories. There's some...
Hey, you could have had the Celestial Toymaker, so you got off lightly.
I actually kind of like parts of that. I just stopped calling
so
him...
You're the one.
I'm one of them. I like the idea. I don't think... It's not like I love Web Planet. It's a big, bold idea, and I think it succeeds.
It's a great concept. It's just
it falls flat.
Not realised that well, from what we can see.
And it's actually better as an audio. But I've got you back here, and I think we've been doing a little pre-talk, and I think some of that conversation will get carried on into this story.
Very possibly.
Because it's the mutants, and it hits a lot of political nerves for both our countries.
Yeah, that Doctor Who's gone woke, hasn't it?
Oh, my God, yeah. Yeah, it was never woke before.
Such a new thing.
I love it. It's like Vic and me keep going, what, did you never watch a Barry Letts fucking produce Doctor Who? It makes me look like Reagan. And I'm pretty liberal. But we're going to be covering the mutants. So I'm going to jump to the synopsis from the Jean-Marc Léoffer's program guide, and we'll be right back. The Mutants, Serial NNN. Writers Bob Baker and Dave Martin. Director Christopher Barry. Script editor Terrence Dix. Producer Barry Letts. It originally aired April 8th, 1972 to May 13th, 1972. The Time Lords send the Doctor and Jo to the planet Solos to deliver a mysterious message to an unknown party. Solos is about to become independent from Earth, to the chagrin of its sadistic marshal, whose hobby is to hunt Solonian mutants. He commissions a Solonian to murder the Earth administrator and plans to oxygenize Solos's atmosphere. Kai, a Solonian unjustly accused of murder, takes Jo with him to the planet's surface. The Doctor escapes from the Marshal and tries to find them. On the surface, he meets Sondergaard, a doctor who is searching for a cure for the mutating disease which threatens the Solonians. The Doctor, recaptured, is forced to perfect the Marshal's oxygenizing machine. Sondergaard gives Kai a crystal which turns him first into a mutant, then into a super being. The crystal, found in a cave indicated on the Time Lord's message, enables Kai to kill the Marshal, present his case to the newly arrived Earth investigator, and help the rest of Solonians to evolve into super beings, part of a century-long evolutionary process. Again, another wonderful synopsis from the Jean-Marc Léoffer, the Doctor Who Program Guide, the complete guide to every Doctor Who story of Classic Who. All right, on with the show. All right, so let me start, because I wanted to preface this whole conversation with this. And you've listened to most of mine and Vic's conversations, and we talk a lot about, during the rewatches, how, when rewatching it, is your present state of mind, the things going on in the world, and all that change your interpretation. I used to hate this one. This is not one of my favorite seasons. I like Pertwee, but there are a couple in this. Time Monster, which is next, Benton in a diaper, I really can't stand. I think I'm not a big fan of the six-parters, and this is a six-parter. Because I always had to watch them, and I never really watched them week to week. You know? So maybe if I'd watched them week to week, do they work better? I don't know. But I rewatched this last time during my never-ending rewatch, like mid-pandemic.
Okay.
Boris was in charge, and Donnie was in charge. And this fucking hit a nerve.
Yeah.
And I really, really liked a lot of it. I liked the Marshal. one, it's got a good cast, but it really struck me as different. How did you watching it for coming on my show, as a not a big fan of the Third Doctor, how did it hit you this time? Did you feel it was different, or?
I have to say, I probably haven't watched this for quite a long time. I've got the Blu-ray set too, and most of the time I'm just going straight for the BAM and going into the extras, because that's what I'm all about.
Yeah, they're amazing. We're about 3 months behind. They announced season 20 the same day we got this one. We'll get it when they announce the next one. So
yeah. So I probably haven't seen this since I'm going to say probably the 90s.
Really?
Before this, yeah. So it used to be I think it's still going. There's a satellite channel called UK Gold, and they would show old Doctor Who on a loop.
Yeah.
So I probably would have watched it on that.
But this time, did it hit you differently this time, or?
Well, as you may have alluded to, I'm not a huge fan of Big Bird. He's not really my favourite Doctor. Yeah. But that said, watching this, you can draw some pretty obvious parallels with a lot of stuff that's going on now. You've got the whole ecological issue that's going on, and destroying the planet through selfish reasons.
Yeah.
And just big business and all that kind of stuff, which is a recurring theme in the Barry Letts era.
Well, he wasn't wrong.
No, he wasn't.
No,
he wasn't.
It felt very predictive.
Yeah.
And it's in the 70s, and had all the you all had lost by then all the African nations had left were no longer.
Yeah, we had the Commonwealth, which is a kind of loose affiliation of former imperial conquests. Kind of,
So for us in this country, we stole the continent from several other nations, of Indians, and destroyed it. We were talking about, I was on a road before. We were talking about a road trip me and my family made in the 70s. And in 1972, America smelled really weird. I mean, it was disgusting. Because it was dirty. We didn't give a shit. And we were just polluting everywhere. It was all about driving through the Midwest. It was gross. But this time, when I watched it mid-pandemic, I really kind of enjoyed it a whole lot more.
Yeah.
There are dead spots, and it doesn't trick. The Marshal I enjoy his performance more now. I think
he really carries this show.
He does. He does a lot of
Paul
the heavy
Whitson
lifting.
Jones.
Yeah, and I don't know him from anything else.
He had been in Doctor Who before.
What was he?
In the early years, he was in The Smugglers.
Oh, was he the? Oh my God, was he the magistrate?
Oh goodness, I can't remember what his character was called now, but he was in The Smugglers, which we did not that long ago.
Yeah.
So he was in that, and he'd done a fair bit of TV. I was just kind of reading up about him before coming on to talk to you, and very sadly, he died the year after this went out.
Did he? Oh.
Yeah.
He's so good.
It's very sad. Yeah. He's great, and he's one of those bad guys you love to hate. He really grabs that role and just is.
And he never goes.
Perfect.
It's big, and he's like right at the top, but he doesn't jump off the edge.
No.
He has a motivation as an actor. He made choices that really work. And this cast is good. You got George Pravda, who plays
He's been in a few different Doctor Who's.
Oh yeah, he's really good. The guy that plays Solon, is it Solon? The scientist in the caves who goes native.
Oh, Sondergaard.
Sondergaard. I like him.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that played Cotton plays Billy. Oh my God. He plays the older version of the cop in Blink.
No way, is that him?
Yes,
I did not know that.
Yeah, Cotton is Billy, the old Billy.
Oh man.
Yeah, He was the first actor who had appeared in original Who appeared in modern Who, I think.
Well, I've learned something today.
Yeah, I always liked that, because I've always liked him. You got the working class guys.
Mm-hmm.
The plot on the planet is the 500 years. It's really more a Star Trek plot. It really.
You've got that real double act, haven't you, of Cotton and Stubbs?
They're
and Stubbs,
great.
This is way before Christopher Eccleston, and he proves that every planet also has a Merseyside as well. he's very scouse.
Isn't he somewhat famous? The guy that plays Stubbs is famous as the guy that plays Khan?
I mean, he may have been back in the day, but it's not someone I'm super familiar with.
I thought I'd read somewhere. I mean, I didn't really I did some quick skimming of About Time, and I'd heard it's been a while since I've watched the extra features on the DVD, because the last time I watched this, I just watched a story, and I haven't got to do Behind the Sofa on this set yet, right? Because I haven't watched. I tend to go through the discs and watch a story, watch all the special features, watch the next disc, and I had just not long ago. I mean, I've watched Day of the Dalek a little recently. I don't know why. I just kind of watch it randomly. I wanted to watch the new special effects because I read an article about it, so I rewatched it.
Yeah, that's one of the better ones where they've kind of rejigged it, I think.
Yeah, I think they fix it. I think other times, who was I talking to? I think it might have been talking to Jason from Doctor Who Lit. He doesn't like the new ones, the new special effects. And I went, I don't like Spirit, not Terror of the Autons, the snake coming out of the antenna isn't very good. But in Kinda, I'm like, thank you, God, that plastic toy snake is gone. And I liked Enlightenment.
It's done tastefully, it's fine.
Yeah, I liked Enlightenment special effects. But I thought the special effects for Enlightenment originally were, for that era, top notch.
Yeah, they were really good for the time,
But for overall, I mean, it really struck me, the politics struck me, I enjoyed it. I did zone out at times watching it over the last 2 days because it's a 6-parter, so there's a lot of moving to and from the same points over and over again.
Yeah, I have to confess, I did have to rewind episode 4 because I fell asleep during it. Which probably says more about me than it does about the story.
Well, I mean, but,
we're all getting a bit older.
But there is that thing. My problem with 6-parters is they tend to do the same thing over and over again. I've talked about the Sarah Jane where they're in the ice tunnels or something, and we in this country we didn't have the one episode because it was in black and white. So when they cut it into an omnibus, they just didn't put that episode in, and I didn't notice it until I got the DVD. Wait a minute! Oh, they have the same cliffhanger 2 episodes in a row. Oh, okay. So. But I like this one, and I mean Jeffrey Palmer's in it.
Yeah, he's great.
The guy that plays the lead, when the authorities show up.
The investigator,
Yeah, he was someone, I can't remember.
Peter Howell,
okay.
I don't think he's the guy that does the revamped theme tune in the 80s.
No, but I've seen him in sitcoms and, and other things. Yeah. But I like this one. I enjoyed it. Is it great Doctor Who? No. But it's not as bad. There's some dodgy ones in every era. And I get, like, Vic has started. She liked Pertwee the first time through.
Yeah.
And she didn't the second time through. Because he's a bit of an asshole. He can be abusive.
That's my main. I don't think he's too bad in this one.
No.
But my major thing with him is the way he speaks to people, and particularly Joe.
Yeah.
There's a bit of playful banter, and you can see it's going both ways, and to me that's fine because it's kind of on the level. But I find with him a lot of his comments it feels like he's punching down a lot, and I can't get on with that.
Yeah, I think are they going for the elitist aristocratic hero, which is in your culture big? It's less than ours because ours is always the everyman. Because every American feels like he's a pioneer, and it's like, not really.
I mean, Tom Baker could turn on a dime and just really lose it with people, but it never felt like to me, it always felt like he was on the side of the oppressed, and he was, if he was going to take someone down, it was going to be someone who had it coming to them, and they were, putting someone else down.
Yeah.
So he would redress the balance. But I don't know. I just feel like It seems to be very polarizing. I know lots of people who really love Pertwee, and they see him as this anti-establishment character, and they love the fact he's a sort of a James Bond done sort of for Doctor Who with the gadgets and the cars and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, to me, he always you see. I mean, I'm generalizing, and I'm sure because we haven't come to the Pertwee era yet. We've just wrapped up season 5, so we're about to start on Troughton's final season. So I'm going to be going into season 7 when it comes along with a clean slate and an open mind. I want to like it, and I'm hoping it will turn me around.
I still think his first season it's my favorite Pertwee season.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've learned to like Joe, learned to deal with Benton.
Yeah,
I like Mike, and anytime Nick Courtney's on screen, I'm happy. But
yeah.
I think that season 7 is the closest Doctor Who ever gets to like kind of true science fiction, like Quatermass kind of level, because it's a little more adult. I think Spirit from Space is probably one of the better intro stories.
Definitely.
And I like him with Liz, and I think him being a bit of a... Joe doesn't soften him up enough, because Liz could hold her own. I think he's never too negative with that character. I think Pertwee's intent with Joe and Katie Manning's intent with them, how they're doing it, is there is a paternal relationship.
Yeah, he's very protective of her.
She doesn't give a shit. We all feel, and I agree with you. I think he's rude to Joe. Vic thinks he's awful to Joe, and Vic doesn't even like Joe. Because that's not her kind of. That's not what she wants to see as representation. And I get that.
From memory, I think he seems to soften a bit by the time he gets towards the end of his run.
Yeah, but I think with Joe is that she holds her own, because he can be mean to her, and she's just like, oh yeah, by the way, I escaped from this. Here's the information you needed, and why don't you go kiss my butt? I mean, because she does it. She is.
And here's your sonic screwdriver you lost.
Yeah, yes. I think she saves his bacon a lot more, and I think that's what their intent was. But
she's very resourceful.
She is very resourceful, and I've learned on thinking, Jeff, it's that damn Jeff getting me to rethink things while watching it, and kind of going, because I didn't really dislike Joe. It just was like, my first companion is Sarah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard,
and
the companions after Sarah, after Leela, they're kind of up and down, because they really just don't give the poor actors a whole lot to do. You'll have, points, but I think Joe and him are really good in this. I think, and you can let Katie Manning as Joe go off in an adventure of her own, especially by this point, because we only got one more season with her.
Yeah. Well, I think they were saddled with the whole thing of him being stranded on Earth from the previous production team. So
it's not
their mission straight away was, okay, how can we turn this around and get them back out into space?
And I kind of like the Time Lords making him do shit. I don't mind that. They still use it in Baker a little bit.
They have a weird way of doing things. So they give him this kind of interdimensional football.
Yeah.
And all he knows is when the right person comes along, it will open up.
Yeah, that's called a dumbass MacGuffin. It's just like, why don't you just give him a note, have him drop off, or you just fucking with him? And it's basically they're just fucking with him, because the Time Lords are just, there's a whole lot of that in, and I really agree with why Davies got rid of the Time Lords in 2005, because how does the Doctor exist when, there are 45 different Time Lords who have done the same thing he has done, bolted, for whatever reasons. You got the Master, you got Drax, you got, you know what I mean? But they're really, it becomes a crutch, and they're always, they're just evil.
Yeah.
So, and that kind of elitist thing, I just don't think it works. And I think with Pertwee he's unique of all the Doctors, because he's the only one, you know what I mean? Hartnell is unique. Once Pat comes in, there's a little bit of Patrick Troughton in every Doctor to follow him,
Yeah.
Because he set the mold for this is what regeneration's about. And then everybody, all the actors was like, I'd like to do some light stuff because this is a kid show. But, no one ever goes full action man, even though I would say Tenets is the second easy other action-y.
Yeah.
And that's intentionally.
Well, it's often said that Pertwee, because he was known for comedy, he wanted to go against type and replay it as an action hero.
Well, and I think you go with Sylvester is once him and Cartmel and kind of take control. He's the same way. It's like, I've done comedy. Let me be dark. Let's bring the mystery back to Doctor Who. And I think that's a good decision. I think I'm looking, I really enjoyed Jodie's era. I loved it. And it was a nice palate cleanse from Davies and Moffat, which could get heavy.
Yeah.
And I like the big bads. I like the arcs. I'm a huge Moffat fan. I'm a huge Davies fan. I think Davies is probably one of the, top 5 television writers anywhere. America. Yeah. I would put him up with Rod Serling, with Patty Chayefsky, who are our kind of early days guys. And I would put him up that just based on his non-Doctor Who stuff. The amount of
Yeah, I mean his recent stuff has been just out of this world.
I've not been able to watch either of them because I think they're going to trigger some of my burnout from the pandemic.
It's harrowing viewing, but it's so good.
And I was working for a gay theater company during the AIDS era, and I have friends that, I have not as many. Vic had clients who passed. I had one or two. A good friend of mine, a stand-up comic named Steve Moore. He eventually, he moved here to get treated because the hospital where I work is one of the first hospitals to use the cocktail.
Yeah.
And he moved from LA to here to do it. So, that kind of stuff is just, but he's so good. And I'm looking forward to what he can do with Disney money. And with Jane Tranners and Jennifer.
Bad Wolf.
Yeah, Bad Wolf, they've done some good TV. They know how to do it, and Disney's going to let them do spin-offs, and because they ain't paying.
Quite a few from, you hear rumblings.
Yeah, well, he's going to get more money, and what's cool is I'm hoping that, like, here in BritBox, we get none of the animated except for Power of the Daleks.
Yeah, this is something because my co-host Ian has moved from England to go and live just down the road from you with his American wife. And he was quite shocked to find that when he opened up his BritBox in the States, it was a very different selection from what we have here.
It's totally different rights, but that's all going to move to Disney. Everything's moving to Disney in this country. So I think we'll have. Do you have a child? Do you have Disney in your household?
Of course we do. Yeah,
we do too.
I watch stuff on it.
I do too. No, but I mean, it's a good. I need him to I need him to be quiet for 20. We.
Yeah.
But we watch it. I got my wife to watch all the Marvel stuff and the Star Wars stuff. There's a lot on there, and I like that it's everything. I think the streaming people who are going, we don't know what to do is, well, let's make content, pay your people more. You might need to charge us more because you were lowballing it, but it's just have your library accessible and have people pay a rent to view it.
I think it's a good idea in terms of opening up the viewership because as much as BBC America, from what I gather, did a really good job of making it a really big thing in the States comparatively. Putting it onto Disney Plus is just going to open it up to a whole massive audience.
It is. And that's Disney Plus everywhere but the UK. Yeah. Everywhere. Someone was asking me over here, but that sounds weird. It's like, no, it's not, because Walking Dead's on Disney in some countries. Or Amazon. Yeah. Because Amazon is different than your Amazon. We can buy those channels, but none of us do it. Because it's better just to buy it, like on our Fire TV. So we don't have cable anymore. I don't really watch my sport, baseball, because my team is about to move. Yeah, okay. I'm very upset. My baseball team may move to Vegas. It would be its fourth city since 1900. Jesus. They were in Philly, the Oakland Athletics. They are one of the great teams in baseball history, and they were in Philly, then they're in Kansas City, and they've been Oakland for the last 50 some years, and they're going to move to Vegas. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's awful.
But yeah. Well, I became a Premier League fan, and my team in the last week got relegated, and your team didn't.
Well, yeah, it was touch and go.
It was. One of us was going down, and I watched the last week.
That was a very long 90 minutes of football.
I was thinking of you that whole day. It's like, I'm really only...
Yeah.
I like Leicester, and I will still root for them. But I feel sorry for you. I was thinking of you, Mark. I was like, oh, Mark, that's like, don't...
They'll be back. They'll be back.
Yeah. I mean, because they're not as bad as the ones that come up, go down, go up, go down. We'll see. I
think we're in for another year of the same. Unfortunately.
Well, my sports thing is my problem with the Premier League is like with American pro basketball. There are only like 5 really good teams that ever go. It's not like in American football, like touchdown football. In the NFL, the worst team gets the first draft pick.
Yeah,
and then
that seems...
And because you change who you play every year, you play your division. Any team could go from losers to winners. There have been...
That sounds quite socialist.
It is, because one, they don't like...
Yeah, that's very unusual for Americans.
Well, in that sport they only have one team. They only have one TV contract. Where in baseball, every team has its own TV contract for local shit. It's really dodgy. And our owner is terrible, so it's just awful. But it is... football is for a little more socialism for billionaires. But back to there's a patented Gallifrey's most wanted tangent. But I think that the Pertwee era, and he's so different. Yeah. And me and Vic talked about it last time we did one, because was that the last one? I think the last one she did was a Pertwee. And I get it. I like this era like I like watching an old James Bond. It's a little dodgy with 2020 plus eyes. Yeah. But they're still fun little adventures, and he's a bit of a prat. I mean, Connery's a terrible person. His Bond is a nasty piece of work. Yeah. Where Roger Moore's is charming.
I think this has got a lot going for it. I think the central idea is very good. This is another Bob Baker and Dave Martin story.
I like their early stuff
Bristol
a lot.
Boys.
I do.
Yeah. So the whole thing revolves around trying to work out what this link is with the artifacts that he's been given, and how that fits in with the mutations and the rest of it. So I think that's quite ahead of its time. Did you see something similar later down the line in Full Circle, don't you, with Tom Baker?
Yeah, and I think you see it a little bit with Kinda.
Yeah.
Colonialism, and I think it's a good way of it. It's not. I listen to a Star Trek podcast, and when they talk about the preachiness of old TOS, original Star Trek, they call it. I don't know if you're a Star Trek fan, but the episode Miri, where they go bonk bonk, the kids that have never aged. They're hundreds of years old and they're still playing games in the remnants of their society. And it's not bonk, bonk, bonk on your head. Because, one, the villain's engaging. The Marshal is engaging. You get it. I like George Pravda's character a lot because he's not really a bad guy. Because he, at the end, is like telling the Marshal, you're a nut job. Cotton and Stubbs are good. The handsome leading man kind of guy is not the greatest actor in the world.
Yeah, and then you've got the crazy warrior chief. Or whatever.
Every time he came in, I kind of blanked him out because it was just like, what?
He struck me as like a kind of a pound shop Brian Blessed.
That's a good take on it. It was Brian Blessed without any of the charm.
And then you had his son, who you initially think, he's going to be set up to be like the hero of the day, and then he gets bumped off. It's all these things that are there to show you just how devious the Marshal is. He's prepared to just take anyone out in order to keep his position.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, how do you think this went over in the 70s? Because you guys were in a Labor government.
It was very flip-flop at the
Yeah,
time.
because that's Heath and all them,
Conservative,
right? Heath
Labour.
and Wilson and
Yeah,
all
yeah,
them.
yeah.
Just, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
See, I just, for us, it was Nixon.
Yeah.
We had Nixon.
Mm-hmm.
Nixon won his second term in 72 by landslide. We don't have landslides in this country anymore. I mean, I don't know if you understand our system that popular vote. Yeah, we had electoral college. It was supposed to level the playing field for populated states and unpopulated states. Whatever. It's silly. We should, we got to think. The Republicans haven't won the popular vote in any election other than George Bush's second. George Bush Jr.'s second. No, George Bush Jr.'s second one.
Senior.
No. He beat. I think he won. I think Bush 2 beat Kerry popular vote.
Okay.
But they won. Look at Trump. He lost the popular vote twice.
Yeah.
God forbid he runs again. But I mean, this in the 70s, would this have pissed people off? Nowadays we're way too sensitive about,
That's a hard one to call. This is like the year before I was born.
Oh,
so
yeah. See, I remember. I remember, but I was raised by a Marine, and people go, well, your dad must have been conservative. I said, no, he really, really liberal. He's like a Roosevelt Kennedy liberal. We don't see that anymore. Liberal nowadays in this country is really not that liberal. Like you were talking beforehand, that your labor is more moved to the center, and we did that at the same time with Billy Clinton, and it. Yeah. I think nowadays would be, if you showed this, if they were to shoot this as Modern Who, Twitter would explode.
Well, the thing is, these days, everything is so extreme in terms of people's views, or it feels like it anyway. When you see things being discussed, you can't just have a chat about something and find some sort of middle ground. You either absolutely love it or you absolutely hate it.
Yeah, and that's what gets me. And it's like I do a lot more comic Twitter now because I've got the comic podcast and it's taking a lot of my time.
Yeah.
And there's a young lady who's great, and she's a teacher, and she thinks she teaches. I don't think she teaches music in school, but she'll play the Superman theme on her violin and post it. It's beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
But she really goes, I don't really want to hear you bitch about stuff and complain. She doesn't say bitch. I want to hear what you like. And I'm the same way. That's my thing. Is there a stuff I dislike? And there's Doctor Who. I love Doctor Who.
Yeah.
It is probably, it is, it has its own cabinet in my house. I have own 20-some TARDISes. I love it too much. But there's stuff of it I think is bad. And I don't like it, but doesn't make it. It's like I've always said, it's always someone's first.
And not only that, you're not actively seeking out someone else who really loves it to just say to them, well, you're an idiot. This is crap.
No,
Why do you like it? It's just, I can't understand that mindset. There are certain people who just, whenever you see any of their interactions, you just look at it and think, well,
why are you even watching it?
Why do you? I never see them talking about, oh yeah, I love this, or that was really great. It's always just constantly focusing on the negative. It must get so tiring. I don't know how these people do it.
I really don't get it. It's like there's so much. One, it's escapism. I'll put a Doctor Who in and realize that I haven't watched half of it because I'm reading a comic or I'm fiddling with the shit on my shelves, my office, thank God you can't see it. I mean, it looks like a hand grenade went off. And I'm about to purge a bunch more stuff just because, I'm not, I've got all these weird Who reference books and not enough bookshelves. But
yeah, I feel your pain.
And but these are things that should comfort you. They're stories. They're supposed to make you think. All stories should make you think. And it's like people go, oh, modern Star Trek is so political. It's like, it was made to be political.
That's kind of always been,
that was the
That's
intention.
the whole point.
Science fiction has always been social commentary. That's the nature of it, and I just don't get it. And these characters that we watch, and the things that are going on are very similar to what's going on now, and what they were going on then with the end of colonialism and authoritarianism. We've got America. We've got this flirtation with populism, and this spray tan diaper wearing freak. I'd hate to say his name. The Tangerine Nightmare.
I think the preferred phrase, you may have to beat this out, is Cheeto face shit gibbon.
That's being kind and really rude to most primates, because I don't think he's a primate. But he made some comments that the first thing he wants done is to have Congress give the president everybody, our Constitution, you guys don't have it, which is, you may want to get shit written down. I've never understood. You may. Yeah. But ours is written down, and it can be interpreted different ways. And there's someone that's.
In the last 10 years, that does feel like something of an oversight on our part.
Yeah, because we can hold people accountable, and Supreme Court's gone fucking psycho because it's got some what they call originalists. Well, our founding fathers were slavers, rapists, and murderers, and intellectuals. So my ancestor wrote the Declaration of Independence. People, well, what do you think? I think he was a slaver. He was a great intellect. He had great ideas, but he raped a slave that was the half sister of his dead wife. That's kind of fucked up, and had children by her.
Yeah.
So
I think a lot of our problems stem from a very old-fashioned kind of theory that all of the people who would become a member of Parliament are acting in good faith, and
we had that.
It's all it wouldn't be cricket to do something that was.
It's the same.
Filling your own
pockets. It's the same thing here. It is. We allow them to. We can't, because the Supreme Court we have a case over here called something shit. American United or something. But basically said that donating money is free speech. The First Amendment isn't specific speech. It's been interpreted as expression. It can be donating, support. Anytime I want to say, I'm allowed to speak my opinion, whether it be with my own voice, with my money, with my time. Yeah. And I kind of agree with that, and I kind of applaud the people who won that case, because it was a fucking good arguing. It was a good argument, and you convinced the majority of the judge. But they want this authoritarian. We're on this authoritarian bent, and you see it. All I could see in my head watching the Marshal, and I like that that fucking swagger stick dickheads.
Sort of microphone.
It pops up and
thing,
turns into a microphone.
Yeah.
I love that. I thought that was a great prop, and. But that's the kind of thing, is we're leaning toward it, and it's only it's 80 years since World War II. It's Americans, it's like Johnson wants to emulate, all I could think of was Johnson and Trump. And Johnson sees himself as Winston Churchill.
Yeah, he's really
not. No, he's not. My friends who go, I'm a huge fan of Winston Churchill. Not everything he did, but he did save the fucking world. It's people go, well, he did this and that. He fought in the Boer War. Well, so did a lot of fucking people. He was an imperialist. Yeah, and he never said he wasn't. But he also believed he hated Gandhi because Gandhi was stirring the pot, and he should go and fuck Churchill for that. But he also thought that every member of the empire should be an equal. He said it, but he still wanted to hold on to the land. So he was duality, but he understood fascism, and he understood that he was the first one to say this is evil.
Yeah, I think Boris Johnson understands fascism.
Yeah, but he wanted to be
unfortunately, he's very much in favour of it.
Yeah, he is, and that's what I get. It's like, how do you compare yourself?
Yeah, it's a very warped way of thinking. As far as he's concerned, he's one of these people who is, He's had a very privileged upbringing, and as far as he's concerned, he has every right to be, I think he's quoted as saying he wants to be king of the world. And he just dismisses anything that would apply to anyone else because he's special. He doesn't have to follow the same rules as everyone else.
Yeah, and they all wait.
That's come back and bitten him on the ass finally.
He's had to resign from from Parliament, right? Because.
Well, yeah, I mean, he could have stayed.
Yeah, but
because this inquiry, they found that he had willingly misled Parliament, and he could have stayed in a Parliament that had a big Tory majority that had the vote gone to it. I'm sure, there's every reason why they should vote against that. He also had the opportunity to fight the by-election that would have been caused by him being suspended from Parliament, but he obviously didn't think much of his chances at retaining his seat, so he did the chicken shit thing and quit.
Because he's a chicken shit.
Yeah.
He needs to comb his hair. Eat less pasties. It's that fat rich man. It's like the same thing Trump goes, I'm an athlete. No, you're not. You're a fat pig. You're
Hey, look, I'm in a glass house on that one.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
But there's a difference from you wouldn't deny it. These are guys who think we're the because Trump and Boris think they're the epitome of masculinity, man. It's like
they are the very definition of narcissists. Oh, and that's coming from a podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I talk by myself on my comic book one most of the time because it's just little mini reviews. But yeah, it's like God. Someone was asking me, "Do you listen to your own podcast?" It's like, fuck, I barely listen to them when I'm editing them. I don't want to listen to me run my mouth. I edit with my comic one. I edit as I go because I'm just kind of covering. I'm just doing like mini. None of the episodes are more than 20 minutes long, unless I have a guest, and then we'll have a long random conversation. But yeah, it's just crazy. And this one is like, I mean, all I could think of is, that putting their face on the sky on the Sky Marshal. What is? And hold on, I'm gonna pull something up and share my screen with you. As a comic fan.
Okay.
What got me is I just covered a comic where the Flash of two different worlds. Was it the Flash? And have to rescue the Justice Society, which is the 1940s Justice League. It's the easiest thing. And one of their old villains, Vandal Savage, who was a caveman who found a meteorite and became immortal and has lived for millions of years, and he is a narcissistic dictator. And I was looking at, I've got to find this from 19th. I got to find, wait a minute. Oh man, you're only going to show me a modern version. I tried to find a vision, but it's you're going to laugh because the costume of him and the Sky Marshal are absolutely the same. Yeah,
oh, really?
I think someone had read some DC comics.
Well, it won't be the first time.
No. I mean, oh wow.
Doctor Who has a proud history of paying homage to other famed works, so particularly things like the Hammer horror movies, all that kind of stuff.
There we go. So we'll have to.
Let's have a look at this.
Big screen, Skype. Where are you? There we go. Now I'm gonna have to edit at. I don't edit that much. I just kind of listen in the background and wait for pauses, and I don't cuss. I don't cut cussing. I don't really give a shit. Here we go. Share screen. Can you see?
Here we go.
See? Oh, you're hovering over them.
Oh.
See that?
Yeah. Sorry.
It's the same.
Jesus, yeah.
Yeah,
wow.
That was designed by a guy named Carmen. That's not the original art. That's Carmen Infant. That's someone doing a take on it here. I think this one is.
Okay.
Oh, where do you go? Wow. Google is going crazy. I had another one from. There we go.
Look at that. Yeah, the black with the silver trim.
It's the exact same damn costume. It could have been Vandal Savage.
That's
He was
crazy.
a Flash. I don't know. Forget whose villain he was, but he became a Flash villain. But yeah, it's just I kept thinking of this Vandal Savage, this evil guy who's he's a Nazi. He fought, he's a 1940s bad guy. I think he was created in 46, 47, something like that, post-war, where you're still fighting all that, and it's like I just thought that the bad thing of it and all the stuff that's going on in the world that this story was a little more kind of touched the things and it is a trope.
Well, he's very happy to just sort of cause genocide in order to fill his own pockets. He's got no qualms
he
about.
Thinks people are like when he tells the inspector who's come, it's like, oh no, you're just going to be. I'm going to put you on this planet. And you're just going to be a colonist. And he's like, what in the fuck are you talking about? It's just insane. So I mean, let's kind of get to the end of this. But overall, did you enjoy it more this time, or was it? Okay.
I really did. I had a great time.
There's a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah. I love how when the mutants reach their final form, they turn into something pretty fabulous.
I'm surprised they didn't really fiddle with the special effects with that on the Blu-rays, because I do love the Blu-rays, and I want to kind of talk about the Blu-rays after this. I think it holds up. But see, now I have to... The next one does not. So when I get I'm really not looking forward to the Time Monster, because I just can't...
Come on, Ross. You got to suck it up.
Benson's got a diaper fetish. Really, that's unsettling. Unsettling. But the next season's pretty good. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Forget what I'm covering next. The next. What the? Oh, Hand of Fear is this next episode.
Oh,
and
wow.
that's Jason. Jason's going to do that, and I've got Melvin. Have you heard Melvin Pena?
Yeah, I've had him on the show.
I love him. He's a great guy, and he's going to do King's Demons, which he loves, and I fucking hate.
Wow, that is really taking one for the team.
I really fucking hate that. I mean, it's.
Or maybe you'll.
I
have
might. I have noticed something that
it.
one of my last rewatch that the last season, Davison's last season is really good in spite of Eric Sauer. I think that trio are really good together. I really think that's the dream companions for Davison. I think it just worked.
I'm pretty sure, unless I'm not remembering this correctly, Davison had felt really underwhelmed by season 20 as a whole.
I think there's good stuff,
and that had made his mind up to.
And then he
quit
got a better
the following
season.
year. And then they had some really great stories, and he was starting to think, oh, God, have I made a big mistake?
So. I feel with these Blu-ray sets, and I want to talk about it, I'm looking forward to going through this. I love going through these Blu-ray sets. Because as Jeff said, shit, how many years have these been coming out when me and him talked about them, is that it's Chris Chapman, Toby Haddock, the guy played the train conductor. Christ, Frank Skinner. And all the others that have contributed.
The writers'
and all
room.
those things are so good. And I'm looking forward to. I've just gotten this. So how good is the extra features in this one? The Matthew Sweet interviews.
Oh, blimey! See, here's the thing: that we get them so far in advance. I hate that.
We get DVDs. We got them the same fucking month. I don't know why, but I think what it is they press them because we get them in the plastic clamshell. We don't get the booklet.
Yes.
So I think that.
Yeah, as a whole, I've been reading about in Australia. They've had all sorts of issues where. Well, it is now coming out, but it's so far down the line, and they're charging. It sounds like quite a lot of money.
Australian dollars.
Yeah.
I just ordered. Well, see, I stopped ordering from UK because the postage isn't, and I very rarely sell anything when I'm selling stuff on eBay because the postage is going through the roof. But I think these things are great. I'm looking forward to this one. I can't wait. The Matthew Sweet interview. Who's he do the interview in this one with?
Oh, good grief. I honestly can't remember. It's been so long.
But
since
see,
I've
those are
been
the ones.
through
I
the
just watched
extras.
season 2.
Yeah.
Which was wonderful. And his interview with William Russell was a little painful, but he was very kind.
Yeah.
But
I mean, bless him. He's quite an age now.
And someone said it was kind of cruel to bring him out there. It's like, no, but Sweet makes it easier. And me and Vic, we saw William Russell being interviewed at Galley. Not Galley, at Regen Con. The last one they had. And he was basically kind of being asked questions about the show, and he was giving memorized answers. Answers he's always given, so it's in his head. But then they asked him about his son. And for 25 minutes, he was this proud father of his son was doing a two-man play in the West End with Alfred Molina. And how proud his son was a better actor. It was just beautiful. Yeah. And there are moments where I think Sweet kind of got through the haze. But I like it. I like the Sweet stuff because when he talks to somebody, there's always one question that the person being interviewed has no idea where it's coming from.
Yeah. His one with Sylvester McCoy was really good as well. Really opened up about his early life, and it was really interesting. I've not heard any of that stuff before.
When he talked about Colin Baker's son dying.
Yeah.
And God, what was he had one? I like that his interview with Bonnie Langford nailed everything that I've always said about her. And after seeing her interview, this is a professional actor. She didn't take anything personally. She didn't understand the drama because she comes, she does a gig, she moves on as an actor. You do another gig. That's the life. Yeah. I'm not going to play the same part for him.
And I think it's nice that she's coming back because she's gone on to do loads of really great stuff.
In this country, when they need a Roxy Hart in any touring company of Chicago, they just call her. See, either her or Baby Newirth from Frasier. Mm-hmm. I think they've actually been on the stage.
And, I've heard stuff on Big Finish and other things that she's been in. She was in EastEnders for a while, and I watched that a great deal. So I know that she has got what it takes. And I think it's really nice for her to get another opportunity to really nail that character. And I think she will hopefully bring something quite different this time around when she comes back.
I think she's the new Sarah Jane spinoff. I think she's the one they're going to put in a kitchen. Just my hunch, because one, she can carry it. Mm-hmm. Two, my wife, because Leslie has come in, she's covering the Fury. She covered. We haven't recorded it yet from when we speak, but she's covered the previous episode, Fury of the Deep. So I made her because that's one of my favorite animated ones because it's got that Scooby-Doo animation. I love it. People go, well, let the artist have some interpretation. Don't do a rote for rote copy.
Have fun with it.
Don't make an artist do what you just don't. They're not. It's not exact. You have to reinterpret it. And I think Macroterra is, and Evil of the Daleks they're all stunning. They've just done a wonderful. I'm hoping we get the rest of it animated. I think Davies, he is us. He is a fan. He buys all this crap. So, but I'm looking forward to her, and that means they're going to give her something to do. I'm intrigued that, one, we've got a doctor that wears a different outfit every episode. Capaldi did. I think he said, you got to change my clothes. I'm not wearing the same suit every freaking episode.
Before the 80s, that was always, well, not always the way, but the doctors they'd have a general silhouette, but you would have differences from story to story. Like Tom Baker would always have he'd always have the scarf and the hat, but you'd always have variations on a jacket or a shirt or whatever. Whereas after a while, it just became a costume. And
and I like the costume. Who's ever doing the costume design is just rocking it.
Absolutely, I mean, they're very fortunate that Ncuti Gatwa is the sort of person that you could put him in a bin bag. He'd still look amazing.
I love that he doesn't give a. That outfit he wore to the Barbie premiere is like, woo! How many these weird bigoted Who fans are losing it? He's gay, he's black, and he's what the F is he wearing? Yeah. But I'm looking forward to him. He's learned about it. I'm excited. I am contrarily not a Tenet fan. It's all to be contrary.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, he's a
Well, you're not a massive Tom
for the
Baker
same
fan
damn
either,
reason,
are
but
you?
whenever I
That's super
watch
contrary,
it, I
yeah.
like it.
Yeah.
You know, not always. I think sometimes it's like, Tom, do what you.
Don't you start talking about season 17 because
I enjoyed
otherwise I'll
it.
have to come over there.
Did you listen to the episode where me and Jeff ranked it and Creature in the Pit won?
Yeah. A great
It's
story.
Really, that season's but Nightmare. No, that giant red button by the elevators.
You just don't like fun, Ross.
Hey, I love season 18.
Yeah, that has its moments.
Jeff made me, Jeff and his dad make me rewatch it. Dad did realize that those are actually pretty. Oh, I know why. Because Tom has some direction, and the boss has told him to fucking take it.
And that's just one of the many reasons why we love Jeff.
Yes, I know. I miss having him on podcasts. Hopefully, when the new stuff comes out, I could get it back on.
Yeah, that'd be great.
It would be. Because he is I think he is the best ambassador for the show in a lot of ways. Because he gets it that it should be positive and uplifting, and I think it is. And I think the joy of being at Big Nerds is the rewatch. People like my wife doesn't rewatch things. Well, she plays Law and Order in a loop.
I'm looking to see how this is going to play out with your wife because something I really enjoy is watching vicariously through someone else's eyes for the first time when they're watching this stuff, and if they really start to get into it, it's like, oh my god, I know what the story's coming up next. Are they going to be blown away by this? And I love that.
I really needed to go back because she tried to start watching Modern from the beginning, and we were going to cover Silence of the Impossible Astronaut. But at some point, like a week out, I said, no, we're going to watch Silence in the Library. Then we're going to watch this. Then we're going to watch this. I got to get you up to speed so you understand what's going on. Made her watch School Reunion, and she understood. Oh, okay. And I said, when I first saw this, I cried. I fucking cried, especially when one, you get to see how good an actress Elizabeth Sladen is.
Yeah,
and
she was great.
She turns and goes, "It's you." And because Tennant's such a fan, he's doing the same thing. He was probably like, "Can I get your autograph?"
Yeah.
Because he's a fanboy too. So yeah, I'm looking forward. And with Bonnie, I think with Bonnie Langford, having Mel come back, let Mel use a computer.
Yes.
But I think I'm looking forward to the 3 specials because Tennant Tate is a great pairing.
Yeah, that's
a great one of my favorite seasons of Who ever. It is just flawless. I think it and 5 are my favorite 2 of Modern Who. Because I think 5 is pretty much flawless. I think Moffat, because I think 6 is, there's stories in 6 I really like and some I don't like at all. And I'm the same with Capaldi's first year. There's some I like and some I really just.
Well, I'm a huge Moffat fan, so
I forgive him a lot.
I can be quite an apologist for his stuff.
I mean, I think he like Davies. They're very special screenwriters. People don't like him, but
I think he's one of the most creative writers around.
Yeah, and everybody kind of bashed him. And me and Vic, you listened to our podcast. Me and Vic, during that era, we were really defensive because we're like, okay, all you Davies fans, and we're Davies fans. Vic's favorite Doctor is Tennant. We appreciate it, but you got to remember the best stories in all of Davies' year were Moffat's.
Stephen Moffat,
and I think
Absolutely.
He as a showrunner had a weakness that Davies is a control freak, and it showed, and it helped. I think he fixed some stories that needed fixing, and I think sometimes Moffat didn't fix stuff as much. He let it go.
Yeah, I think
he
maybe.
just let the
I mean, he had that huge hit with Sherlock as well.
Yeah, and he tried to double dip.
So doing those 2 shows simultaneously was maybe not necessarily going to really ease the pressure on him. So I'm sure that added an extra dimension to it. Not that I'm making excuses for him, and also
I think another problem with him is he's better when he's working with his wife and his mother-in-law because those shows are better, tighter. and Gatiss. You know what I mean? Because I think Sherlock's is tighter.
Yeah.
I liked their Dracula a lot.
Yeah,
That
I
nun,
did.
that
Yeah, I liked it. Yeah.
fucking sassy old nun, man. She was brilliant.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge Gatiss fan because I think Gatiss's Sherlock episodes are the better. I'm not a big. The third guy was last name Hammond or something. There were only 3 of them, and they each wrote one a year. And I didn't like that guy's Doctor Who's either. I don't think.
Yeah.
But Moffat. But every year is different. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. You got Neil Patrick Harris in it, playing the toy maker.
There are whispers about Stephen Moffat coming back for season 14.
Well, people can.
Let's hope that's true.
And Davies' one rule was he did not edit Moffat.
And Moffat's played it very cannily because he got asked about it and he said, well, I'd have to be some sort of idiot to come back and do that.
That's him, yeah. Well, you know what? Maybe we don't know who's written what yet, do we?
No.
Has Davies written all 3 specials? Okay.
I believe so, but I can't remember.
Well, we're getting close. We're only 3 months out.
They've said yet, so yeah. As we record this, they've just shown off the new sonic screwdriver.
My display case won't hold anymore. But I didn't buy any of the action figures you showed because they didn't have a TARDIS set. I'm only buying the TARDISes now. But one I have to buy them from over there, and they cost a fortune. So no.
You need to get yourself a Barbie TARDIS, a pink one.
There's someone who sells 3D printed pink ones online. I've almost got it. I think my 7th Doctor, the light blue one, is a Chinese knockoff because I didn't get the set. I actually sold one of my TARDISes. I had the first Doctor with the skull in the original box, the one they did. Yeah, but
nice.
Since they redid it, I had to pay a bill. So, but how excited? But back to, are you excited for the new stuff? Are you looking forward to Davies coming back?
Yeah, I can't wait. Yeah, I think it's going
to be the
great.
Next level. It's going to be some next level stuff.
Yeah,
and
I had concerns at first about Tennant coming back, but let's just see how it pans out.
I like.
The trailers are doing what they need to do, and they're getting me very excited.
I think him playing a different Doctor is neat. I kind of was like, are you wasting a regeneration? It's like we waste them all the time. My one hope is that we get Fugitive Doctor at some point in this next era and let Davy cement her into continuity. Because Joe Martin's amazing, and maybe that's a spinoff. I loved her. And I haven't talked to you since Jodie that much. Were you a fan of the Jodie era?
I was a bit up and down with it. I really loved the historicals. I thought they were great.
Can we have more of those, please?
Yeah.
Let's have a real historical where you're just in the past and you're fighting prejudice or something. You don't need to have an alien. I think because I love the historicals in the 1st and 2nd Doctor era. So, I understand why. I really liked it because, one, it was simpler. It was fresher to me. I was tired of I got really tired of the season finales because I don't really like a lot of them. I think they're too much.
I think when you've had a previous showrunner who is all about the intricacies of the script and, turning this way and that way and wrong-footing you here, there, and everywhere, you just get to the point where, like you said earlier, you need a palate cleanser, you need a fresh start and a different perspective.
And that's the joy of the show is you have a different showrunner for each kind of era. I think Jodie was fabulous. I think I really liked Graham, but I think I became a bigger Dan fan. And I just enjoyed it. But now I'm looking for let's see what you can do with real money. Let's really just unplug the cash flow and put one of the greatest TV writers in the history of English television and not scream poverty. Because they will scream poverty after 2 or 3 seasons and start cutting budgets. Because that's what they do. That's what TV is. First year is great money. Second year, not as much. But, let's see. Let's see if Iger fucks up Disney. So there's a whole much going on.
Yeah.
All right, so Mark, let's move. Why don't you tell people where they can hear your lovely voice on the interwebs?
Oh, you flatterer. Well, I am in a show with my friend Ian Martin. We have a podcast called All of Time and Space. And it's a really original idea. We're watching all of Doctor Who in broadcast order. No one's ever done that before. Hi, Nathan. And I suppose if we have a unique selling point is that we have a regular turnover of guests. So we always have a guest on board, and they tend to bring their own unique perspective on the story that we're talking about. And we have a bit of fun with a quiz at the start as well, just to get everyone a bit loosey-goosey. And it's just a great fun ride. We are just about to head into season 6.
I got to play catch up.
It's a big one.
I stopped listening to a lot of Doctor Who and comic book podcasts and been listening to like true crime and political ones, just as a palate cleanse. It's like, so I was waiting until you had a season in, and I was going to listen to the whole season. But that's good. It's a great podcast. Folks, check out the Gunfighters. They got me to reevaluate the Gunfighters.
We had a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I actually really did enjoy it because it was better made than I remembered it because I was so fixated on them crap accents. Racist. But it's a great podcast. Check it out, folks.
Thank you. And thank you for inviting me on again.
I will probably be asking you back on again, maybe when I haven't decided how I'm going to cover the new episodes without Victoria. This weekend. I've turned her.
Yeah.
For me, it's like I'm nerd to heaven because there's a lot of comic stuff. There's a lot of Star Trek stuff. I'm loving modern Star Trek. And
I really liked. I haven't seen the second season yet, but Strange New Worlds was really.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. And folks, so please check out All of Time and Space. It's a lot of fun. Ian and Mark and his guests have a good time, and it's lovely. I do want to make one recommendation. If you're going to just jump in fresh, listen to their 2-part Dalek Master Plan.
Oh, that was a lot of fun.
And I listened.
We had a great guy from your great country called Ben Schneider, who is hilarious, very talented guy. He's a musician, and he has a lot to say about Dalek.
And I know it's your favorite. It is.
It sure
but
is.
You would agree with me and Jeff that Whittaker Dalek stories are always better than. That's Spooner. Is that all Spooner? Or is that no? That's Spooner Nathan. I like Spooner.
It's half and
half. But I like
Spooner.
Yeah. I've learned that. I thought.
I think it's great.
Because when you were doing that, before I listened to either of them, I listened very intently. I bought Dalek Master Plan, the audio with an Audible free credit, and I really listened to it. I hadn't really listened. Sometimes with the audios, you zone out. But I really just.
Oh, that one always keeps my attention.
It really engaged me, and it really makes me wish just animate it. No. So, whoops.
Yeah, or maybe, find some more
Yeah, I
episodes.
really think they're people who got them. I think they're film people who are holding them. But,
it could be.
I don't trust people. It's the Scot in me. All right, Mark, thank you for coming on. Folks, as always, we look forward to seeing you somewhere in time